The new channel. The new channel. Hashtag TNC Now.
The views, opinions, and insights expressed in the following shows are those of the host, producers, guests, and viewers. They do not necessarily reflect the position of the channel. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hello and welcome to the new channel. Our passion transforms an entire community that sees all things new. I'm Alpha Sanford and you are watching Once a Teacher, Always a Teacher, Season 2, Episode 2. Hi again. Good morning, good evening to all of you who are watching in Asia, in Manila, in the entire Philippines, and here, obviously, in the United States, here in Massachusetts, New England area. Good morning. Okay, folks, can you believe we are now into our episode 2 of season 2, right? And for this entire season, we will be talking about equity, access, diversity, inclusion, and belonging. Before I get started in terms of our episode today, I just want to do a big shout out to my youngest sister, Honey Rose Miguel. She is celebrating her birthday today, and I wish her lots of love, success, happiness, and great health. So, honey, enjoy your celebration over there. Okay, so for today's episode, we will be talking about access to entrepreneurial education and technology. And I feel so fortunate because we will be hearing directly from a successful entrepreneur who is focused on educating teachers and educating people, businessmen, teachers, when it comes to the power of technology. It's like the intersection of entrepreneurial education or being an entrepreneur in technology and also in the academe. All right. Also, our special guest for today is the reason why I was able to get connected to the CEO of Puzzlebox or TNC. So you will get to know this guest very shortly. All right. So before we bring him in, let me just introduce you, our special guest, who is Mr. Jeff Cua. All right. Jeff Cua is an entrepreneur, business consultant, and educator since 2001. So he's been in this business for a while. For 19 years, he was the managing director of a school franchise where he was awarded 3 times as Best in Marketing and Sales and once as a Franchisee of the Year. He studied entrepreneurship at the University of Asia and the Pacific and has a master's degree in entrepreneurship from Ateneo Graduate School of Business. Jeff is also a former radio program co host of the DZAS Entrepreneur Special. He was also a former article contributor of the Entrepreneur magazine. Lately, he also has a podcast, and right there, if you get onto his website, and we'll plug it in the comment section, you will click his podcast link, and you'll be able to listen to his wonderful insights on entrepreneurship, business, and technology. So there you go, folks. That's our special guest for today. And now I'm going to bring in Mr. Jeff Cua. Jeff?
Hi, Alpha. Good evening. Good evening to all your viewers, and thank you for inviting me here. And I'm glad to talk to you. Let's have a wonderful chat ahead.
Wonderful. Jeff, thank you so much for being with me and the rest of my viewers today. Okay, so um, let's talk about how did you become an entrepreneur and how did you get involved in the academe? Tell us all about that, Jeff. We're curious.
Okay, sure. Okay, great. Sige. All right. So let me start by telling you why I wanted to be an entrepreneur first, and how I got into the world of the academe. I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur because I'm surrounded by a lot of entrepreneurs. So my environment, and when I was in high school, um, I already wanted to go into the field of business, and so I decided to take the course in entrepreneurship. That's one of
Mm-hmm,
the newer programs back then in the 90s. And
mm-hmm,
I remember my thesis is somehow related to education. So
mm-hmm,
I thought of the trains employees, and that's where um, the bias towards education started. But after I graduated, I went into the corporate world. I tried it out, but realized that it wasn't really for me. So I
okay.
left. I left the bank after a year, less than 2 years. I left the bank and started, doing business. And so here I am now, an entrepreneur, and I'm currently teaching students at this university. Uh, they're taking up their masters, and part of their program is entrepreneurship. So yeah, and currently, I have this firm, where we train people how to use productivity tools for the office.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Great. Thanks, Jeff. Um, so, as a seasoned entrepreneur, you've been in the business for 19 years, right?
Yeah.
Why is it important for us to talk about access to entrepreneurial learning?
Uh, Maybe you can start answering your question by talking about the current environment here in the Philippines.
Sure. Yeah.
Around 99% of the economy relies on micro, small, and medium enterprises.
Mm-hmm.
They provide a lot of jobs, and only 1% would be the large companies.
Mm-hmm.
So in terms of employment, MSMEs provide a lot of employment. They pay a lot of taxes too, and especially now, uh, the post-pandemic scenario should be about recovery.
Mm-hmm.
And since there are a lot of people who lost their jobs and probably became underemployed, now is the best time to become an entrepreneur, to be able to help the to revive the economy.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, Jeff. Um, so what I heard is that about 99% of the economy in the Philippines is being driven by small business enterprises, right?
That's correct. That's correct. Yeah.
And now with the shift in the global economy, moving into, more of like the digital and more entrepreneurship, it is more than ever important for us to really be encouraging students, especially high school students who are about to enter the workforce, to really be considering entrepreneurial education, correct?
That's correct. Alpha, just to I just opened the file here. Just to give you an idea of the contribution of the MSMEs. No, this
Mm-hmm.
was back in before the pandemic, around 2020.
Mm-hmm.
The total employment, no, provided by the MSMEs, it's around 5 million.
Wow,
Five
that's a
million.
lot.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
while the large companies, they provide at around 3 million, 3,200,000.
Okay.
So there we can see how big, the kind of help, the
Mm,
magnitude of help they provide the economy.
mm-hmm. So, Jeff, we should thank folks like you and us, right, who are
Yes,
also entrepreneurs in one way or the other, because it's through you and us that really gets the economy going, right?
right, right, and of course, the employees too.
Yes, true.
It's a balance between the two. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I heard earlier you mentioned about like um, small business and large enterprises, just for everybody to have a foundational understanding of the differences of those. Can you just share to our viewers the differences of these different enterprises that make up and push the economy?
Okay. Um. Well, it's based on the definition. I think the definition is, well, differs uh where you are. I think it's in the US it's different from how it is defined here. But from what I remember, the medium you are considered to be in the medium scale business if you are um making around 15 million.
Mm-hmm.
And that,
Pesos.
yeah, pesos. That's pesos. That's pesos.
Yeah.
For micro, I think you should be earning around I think at around 2 million a year, pesos a
Mm-hmm.
year. So
Okay.
anywhere between 15 and 2 million, I think that falls under for small. And you can also be well, the number of employees is also used to categorize where you fall, whether you're in micro, small, or medium.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, there you go.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks, Jeff. Yeah, for providing us that, a quick background when it comes to all those different terms that people may not be able to understand, right? So let's get back into bringing entrepreneurial education accessible to everybody.
Hmm.
What's happening in the Philippines, and if you have a global perspective, how is entrepreneurial education accessible, or is it really accessible to everybody?
Um, well, at the start of back in 2016, I think it was 2016 when there was an additional year that was added
Hmm.
in the education system. We are now K to 12,
Okay.
just like in the US, right?
Yes.
So um, so business subjects were added, and part of it is entrepreneurship, meaning to say, students now, if they choose that track, they are able to learn about entrepreneurship.
Mm-hmm.
So in terms of access, talking of access, um, a lot of students in high school are able to have entrepreneurial education now compared to
Nice.
years ago. So you have to choose your course in college if you want to be an entrepreneur. Right now, you can start doing it while still in high school.
Okay. Wow, that's a great move from the Philippine government to really give like a pathway of
Yeah,
entrepreneurship for senior high school.
right. That's correct. So you have subjects there like entrepreneurship. You have subjects there like marketing, operations, and management.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how you know those are the things they learn when they choose those. Choose that the entrepreneurial path or track.
Well, that's very nice. And those offerings for senior high school are both available in the public schools and in the private schools,
Right.
correct?
Yes. That's correct. That's correct. I remember. I remember. What What's nice is that companies
Mm-hmm.
are also they're one of the stakeholders, so they are really part in building the nation
Mm-hmm.
in terms of being mindful of these subjects like
Mm-hmm.
business. What I mean to say is that there's this big company that provides training materials, or what do you call this, materials for teachers, which they will use every time they have their business class. So I remember I was part of the team that was hired by this multinational company to create materials, PowerPoint presentations, workbooks, to be given to teachers so that they'd have something more visual to use than what they currently have.
Ang galing. Yeah, sorry. For
Right.
the folks who are actually listening in English, that slipped out of me. That means, wow, that's awesome, right? Ang galing. Really great. Superb.
Great. Yeah. Awesome.
So, anyhow, so that's amazing, Jeff. So, what I heard is that you were involved in terms of creating some online modules for senior students who are
Yes.
in the pathways. So, tell us about that, and what was your experience creating, those online entrepreneurial education modules for senior high schools, and particularly during the pandemic?
Okay. Um, w- well, I've been teaching entrepreneurship for a long time now,
Mm-hmm.
and they asked me to create modules for entrepreneurship, marketing, and management.
Okay.
So, well, what I did was really to put my experience in that module,
Mm-hmm.
uh, uh, and what I've learned over the years teaching college students. The basic objective is to go beyond theory.
Mm.
That's what I put in the module. Is to go
Mm-hmm.
beyond theory and to really practice entrepreneurship, because entrepreneurship is a topic that you can only learn once you practice it.
Mm-hmm.
You can
Right.
only say that you know how to swim if you go there and dive, right?
Right.
So that's what I did with the module. I made sure that by the end of the year, the students, uh, no matter what what level they are in, or what socio-economic class they belong to, they need to start a business, no
Mm,
matter how small it is.
mhm.
um, so the module starts by asking them to seek opportunities in the environment.
Okay.
Okay. It's not the usual what's your passion question, but
Mm,
really going out there and trying to see the different opportunities, um, in the environment, in the market, and from there they will have to create a you know a, a business model.
mhm.
and the important thing that they need to do is to test the idea.
Okay.
That's how the module goes. They have to think of an idea, they have to create a plan around it, and then they have to test it.
Hmm. Wow. So I love how you created the module, or in other words, this online curriculum for our senior high school students in the Philippines. And you know what I like, what I love about it? It's the fact that it's not the traditional curriculum where all your reading and learning
Uh-huh.
are theories, and
Mm-hmm.
on your end you created a curriculum that dives right into what you believe is going to be helpful and it's going to be purposeful the moment that they leave senior high school.
Right.
You
And here's
understand,
the thing.
right?
Yeah, and here's the thing. Now, there is a another duty or responsibility for the teachers, handling or facilitating the entrepreneurship class or the program. They
Okay,
have
tell
to
me about
become
that.
some,
Yeah.
yeah, they have to become some sort of a mentor too. They need to become a business coach as well.
Okay. So, Jeff, I'm just curious. If our senior high school teachers, whether they are in the public schools or the private schools, don't really have a background when it comes to entrepreneurial education, what would be your advice to these teachers so that they can help support, our senior high school to really understand and implement the online curriculum that you created?
Well, number one, if they can have a small business that will help them experience what it is to be an entrepreneur.
Mm-hmm.
Or number two, um, always go back to re-educating yourself or improving by reading. um, in if you don't have that experience, at least have knowledge that you can pass on to to students. And of course, experience is the best teacher.
Yeah, that's great. So, what do you think is the impact so far in terms of the online module that you created on entrepreneurial education to the senior high school students?
Well, we have yet to see. They just implemented it last August, and they're about to finish. And uh, the they started by learning marketing and management first, and by next year they have to implement their business. Um, you know, going back to the environment, associating this to the environment.
Mm-hmm.
uh, Earlier I said that it's very important that we grow or nurture more entrepreneurs because they are the drivers of the economy.
Correct.
That's one side of it. Another thing that needs to be improved would be access to finance. There are
Mm-hmm.
a lot of there are a lot of institutions offering finance. However, based on research, um, local entrepreneurs, you know, still need to be educated when it comes to, borrowing money for their business.
Yes. Okay. In other words, in Filipino language is utang, you
Utang,
know?
yes. Uh-huh.
Yeah. Okay.
And many Filipinos are, what do you call this? Utang averse, loan averse.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah, why is that? Is that the mindset of our Filipino fellow Filipinos when it comes to borrowing money as capital or seed capital for their entrepreneurs? Is that a deficit mindset, or are they fearful of borrowing money from institutions, from people?
Um, there are many factors.
Okay.
There are many factors. If we're going to talk about the borrower, to be honest, it's really, um, you know, I think many of them are just risk averse.
Okay.
Uh, they feel that they might not be able to pay back the interest or the principal amount.
Mm,
Um,
mm-hmm,
and well, maybe there's another hindrance too, documentation and paperworks.
okay.
So, and collaterals. So, meaning to say, the borrower needs to have some assets so that banks will be able to lend them or loan them money. So many factors. It could be fear. They could be risk averse. It could be deficit mindset, or maybe it's as simple as having not many assets to use as a security deposit
Mm-hmm.
to different institutions. Um, I don't know. Compared to the the United States, there's better access to finance.
Correct.
Even venture capitalists are widespread. It's part
Mm-hmm,
of the entrepreneurial culture to have venture capitalists.
mm-hmm,
Although it's starting here in the Philippines, but it's
mm-hmm,
still not as mature as that one in the US. But hopefully in the near future, since there are more um, young entrepreneurs
mm-hmm,
who are more aggressive, who
mm-hmm,
are more open to newer forms of business, maybe into digital, newer ways of doing things, compared to probably our or my generation,
mm-hmm,
who is more traditional in when it comes to business.
mm-hmm. Yeah. So, Jeff, I am just curious, how do we then teach our students how to become more open-minded when accessing capital, so they can start their business very well?
Uh, well, you mean how to educate them or how to?
Yes. How do we encourage them? Because I feel like this is what's happening. There seems to be either a cultural fear that's going around their head, that, oh my
Yeah,
gosh,
yeah,
don't borrow money because whatever that
yeah.
fear is. So I feel like, as educators, what should be our message to our senior high school or any of the other students who are interested in uh, growing their own business, but may have some underlying fears when it comes to accessing capital? Yeah, what should we do? How should we
Mm,
educate them?
okay. One is, I think we are used to doing things by ourselves.
Okay.
We refrain from having partners.
Mm,
But I think the younger generations, the students I teach, they are more open to having partners. They
nice.
are more not open to having venture capitalists.
Mm-hmm.
But for those who still fear, borrowing money or loaning from the bank, they need to explore having business partners who have access to finance.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Mhm. And really to um talk about the roles in the business. Well, one example that comes to mind is a student um, who who's very good when it comes to operating the business, but you know don't have the money to really grow the business.
Mm-hmm.
What she did was to talk to different investors
Mm-hmm.
and talked about the roles. So she
Mm-hmm.
said that, okay, we can do this. This is what I'm good at. These are my strengths. I'm not very good at this. You have access to finances. That's what I need, and let's partner together.
Mm,
So
good.
yeah, the point is, uh, the point is we need to be, especially for those who want to venture into business and who don't have funds, they need to be open to somewhat to working with someone,
Mm-hmm.
uh, especially someone with access to finance.
That's right. Yeah. And Jeff, I was just thinking when I was listening to you, where do you think the power of networking comes into play to break the barriers in accessing capital?
Okay, so well, locally there are venture capitalists.
Okay.
Yeah, there are a few firms here.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they can approach them. You know, um, Entrepreneurs can approach them, pitch their ideas,
Yes.
and build their network with them. Well, when I say network, I'm talking specifically of the businesses already funded by try to approach businesses funded by different venture capitalists,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and not any business groups
Mm-hmm.
or any social clubs. um Try to look for people connected to those people who have been funded already by those capitalists. Again, the person I met, who um, they are the first all female Filipinas
Mm-hmm.
um, that was funded by venture capitalists, all female CEOs,
Nice.
and they've been funded around, I think, 15 million pesos already, or even more.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, uh, to run their um, cloud kitchen. Yeah, there you go.
Cloud Kitchen, is that the
Yeah,
name?
no, that's a lot of the business. They have a kitchen. Not very familiar, but as far as I know, they have a kitchen. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and people can order online.
Nice.
So
Okay.
so 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 there's one kitchen, but this kitchen um you know um can sell different brands. They have restaurant A, restaurant B, restaurant C. So one is, let's say, Japanese cuisine, the other is Mexican, the other is Filipino. So there's one
Mm-hmm.
kitchen servicing different restaurants. So they've
Mm-hmm.
been funded. Yeah.
Yeah. So, Jeff, I feel like this particular company that you talk about, they did what they could following what you wrote in your online curriculum, which was, I feel like they first identified an opportunity or a problem within their
And
community.
Alpha, this happened during the pandemic.
Wow, galing. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
really great.
yeah,
Yeah. So they did identify a certain problem within their community
right,
and then came up with a business plan to solve
right.
that problem.
hmm
And then they seek out,
They
um,
tested first.
yeah,
They tried to prove their idea.
Okay. They tried to prove their idea.
Once they
Okay.
have proven their idea, that's the time they approach the venture capitalist. And if I'm not mistaken, this is one of the, I just forgot where this first investment in, but it's one of the big international companies.
That's wonderful. So they did almost like what you had.
Exactly.
I'm sorry?
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So they did. They really proved their idea and then went out to uh, get access to more funding. So I feel like, and correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like we see a lot of Filipino small business companies, Filipino entrepreneurs, but a lot of the Filipino entrepreneurs fail to actually test their idea first, but they just keep on and keep on until such time that sustainability doesn't happen. Do you see that
That
as well?
yes, yes. Approaching business is like what we learned in school before, right? I mean, it's a scientific process. You need to observe, right? Is that and try to observe something, try to maybe look for a problem, test it out, until it becomes a theory,
That's
something
right.
like that.
That's right. All right. I think, Jeff, why don't we take a break for a few minutes?
Sure.
And then when we come back, I'd love to actually dig deeper in terms of your experiences in the tech world and how the intersection of entrepreneur, technology, and academe come into place. All right.
Sure. All right.
So, folks, we'll see you in a few minutes. TNC is a live stream platform of online shows for people on the go. Please watch all our shows as seen on the screen. Imagine having your own show, your own playlist, your own content, but we make it easier for you. TNC aims to transform the lives of our viewers through engaging, authentic, and original content. Our vision is to become a global 24 over 7 live stream channel that showcases Filipino talent, global influencers, cultural intelligence, and ingenuity. Please continue to support Once a Teacher, Always a Teacher on selected Saturdays, 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time and 10:30 p.m. Philippines time. You can watch live or on replay via Facebook or YouTube. You can also follow us on Instagram, listen to us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And all you have to do is search hashtag TNC now. For sponsorships, please email now at thenewchannel.com or send us a DM. Enjoy these life-changing shows because we made them for you. All right, folks, welcome back. So I'm hoping that if you are a teacher listening to the conversation that I'm having with Jeff Cua, you are taking down notes and trying to understand how you can better support our students, especially those who are in the pathways for entrepreneurial education in the Philippines, and for your students who are seeking to become entrepreneurs. Also, if you are a student or if you're a budding entrepreneur listening or watching the show, I'm also hoping that you are taking down notes because what I heard earlier is that there is a certain barrier, especially in the Philippines, when it comes to accessing capital or finance, and also the sort of like cultural mindset or the characteristics of being risk averse when it comes to capital access among our Filipinos. So take down notes when it comes to that. Also, Jeff mentioned about venture capitalists. Here in the United States, there are growing numbers of venture capitalists who are available to help budding entrepreneurs when it comes to access to their capitals. I believe that there's a huge difference when it comes to the policies for entrepreneurs here in the United States and also in the Philippines. And if we do have time later on, I'd love to hear from our guest, his thoughts when it comes to the policies that could be barriers to spreading entrepreneurship among Filipino youths and Filipinos in general. All right. That's enough from me. I'd love to continue this wonderful conversation with Mr. Jeff Cua. So let's bring Jeff in right now.
Hi, Alpha. Sorry.
Hi, Jeff.
Internet is, I don't know, acting up.
Yeah, I think what we're going to have to ask our viewers, if they have the ability to click on the caption, they should probably do that so they can still learn from everything that you had mentioned earlier, because you pointed out great insights when it comes to entrepreneurship, some thoughts for the teachers and also for the budding entrepreneurs, especially among our senior high school students, right?
Yeah, thank you.
All right. So, yeah, let's talk about now like the intersection of entrepreneurship, technology, and education. And into your world, how do you see these three sectors being drivers in the economic growth of a country?
Okay. Good question. Not really prepared for that, but very good philosophical, deep question. I need to go back to my liberal arts education for that. Uh,
No need.
so, so okay. Again, the question is the relationship or how do entrepreneurship, what's that, uh, technology, and what's the other one? Education.
Yes. How do they intersect?
All right. Um, I think entrepreneurship, technology, and education. Well, they're all related. You know,
Mm-hmm.
especially when we look at it from the point of view of human development,
Mm-hmm.
human enrichment.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Technology is so widespread. Access. Well, a lot of you know, um, a lot of people have access to technology right now,
Mm-hmm.
wherever you are. Signal is, I'm talking of internet, signal is everywhere.
Yes.
In the future, you have, I don't know, I'm not aware, but Starlink is there. I don't know if
Mm-hmm.
they're already. Um, the thing is, if we look at it from that perspective, uh, the entrepreneur is the driver of information for human development, well, now and in the future. So
Mm-hmm.
I see it from that point of view. However, um, we've seen the impact of having so many information also.
Yes.
We, technology. When I talk technology, um, it's the application of human knowledge. Okay. Um, so we've seen the impact of so many information out there, uh, but not at the end of the day. What is important is knowing um, how to choose the right one, the right information that will probably, you know, help achieve the goal of human development.
Mm-hmm. Jeff, I had a hard time listening to your answers. But all I heard was that something to do with the human development. um, so, anyhow, hopefully, Jeff will be able to get his internet access fixed. And in the meantime, here are some of my thoughts when it comes to entrepreneurial education. It's great that the Philippine government has enacted a pathway for senior high school students so that they will be able to have um, an opportunity to better their lives and also hone in their entrepreneurial skills, especially right before they graduate college. Um, I know growing up as a daughter of both public school teachers and also my parents are both entrepreneurs. We saw firsthand how they persevered so that my parents' businesses will thrive. Because if it's not for my parents' businesses, and yes, they have multiple businesses growing up, I saw in them how is it like to really run businesses and at the same time how to serve the public as public school teachers. So looking back, I'm like, wow. So that's probably why my two passion, which are education, business, and entrepreneurship, is where I got from. So, my perspective in terms of the intersection of entrepreneurship, technology, and education um, is going to be here, right? especially now that we are in the digital world where almost a lot of the growing business are accessible and are available online. And if you have not moved from the brick and mortar mode of business, it's time for you to start opening up to the world of online or digital world and take part in this digital economy, because it is where we are going for the future of business and entrepreneurship. Now, I think I'm going to answer the question that I asked Jeff, okay? And in my own opinion, right, how do I see these three sectors being drivers in the economic progress of the country? I mean, I see these three sectors being massive influencers when it comes to driving the economy of a country. Because look, without proper education of our students when it comes to establishing business, when it comes to teaching them the technical aspect, the technical skills, and the other skills that are necessary to start and sustain a business, they're not going to one, move their business to a sustainable model, or they're not going to be able to make their business thrive in the next 3 or 5 years. And here is Jeff. Maybe he's going to pick up where I left off. All right.
Yeah, as I was saying, well, education, entrepreneurship, and technology are all associated when we look at it from the perspective of human development.
Yes.
It is entrepreneurship that tries to create or bring technology, use or technologize education, because as you right now we have well, access to information is so efficient, and that people are more knowledgeable now because of the entrepreneurs, because of technology they have set up, and because of new knowledge when it comes to education. However, the challenge in the future would be how to properly use the information,
Yes.
or how to keep information pure um, in terms of its truth and reality and its facts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree, Jeff, in terms of that. Information technology is so abundant. So it's really a matter of how people will be using this information that they get and really apply the knowledge that they're getting to
Mm-hmm.
their business or to their daily operations of their business, so that their business could be sustainable.
Right.
Right? Yeah. All right. I am just curious, Jeff.
Okay.
I know you run businesses, and
Yes.
how did you become a successful entrepreneur?
Um. Okay. When uh, first I wanted to really define, uh, my first meaning of success.
Okay.
Most of the time it's defined, financially. But for me, I define it more in the context of freedom.
Mm-hmm.
Freedom in the sense that, I'll be able to do the business that I like.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, um, Decide on things about my business.
Mm-hmm.
So um, I remember this great um, business thinker, Clayton Christensen, I think. He has this book, the something to do with dilemma. But anyway, he has this question: whether you want to be the rich or the king,
Okay.
between having so many, so many resources, but you have to work with different people.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to be the king where you can really decide where you want to bring the business?
Mm-hmm.
However, your resources will be limited. So um I probably think, to answer your question, I've decided.
Oh no, we are in the middle of a great story with Jeff. And folks, I promise. Okay, here we go. Jeff is back. Are you with us, Jeff? Maybe, maybe not. Okay. So I think he was going to tell us such a great story, and I was like actively listening to what he was saying. Um, But in the event that Jeff Cua may not be able to come back and we only have 5 minutes, I'd like to actually do a better episode for this access to entrepreneurial education and technology, and maybe re-invite Jeff again so we can have a better conversation when it comes to this topic, because it's absolutely critical to be talking about students having access to entrepreneurial education, because just like what we heard from Jeff earlier, right? 99%, especially in the Philippines, um, of the country's economic growth is being driven by small businesses or micro enterprises and the companies, right? So if you are um, a student who is really interested to do that, then it's time that you need to really grab all the opportunities, the books, and the different knowledge that is available to you at the senior high school level. And if you are a teacher who is teaching entrepreneurial education, we heard from Jeff that it's also important for you to try, apply what you are learning from the curriculum so that you will also be able to guide your students very well when it comes to your entrepreneurial education classes. All right, let's see if Jeff is here and maybe he'll be able to finish his story.
Yeah.
All right,
Am
are you back?
Yeah.
All right.
All right. The only thing that's successful right now is the internet connection. All right.
That-
So
okay, back to you. You were
yeah,
sharing about the story of the king and things like
yeah,
that.
yeah, but it came from the book of King Christensen, and as an entrepreneur, he said that there are really two things that you need to think about. You want to be rich, where you have so many resources, however, you have so many partners that you don't have control over it. And the other one is, being the king and, not having so much resources, being able to direct where you want the business. So,
Mm-hmm.
for me, I'd like, y- you know, deciding on, I don't know, maybe it's a generational thing. As I was reading earlier, um, that, you know, uh, want to be in control. No, so that, so to me, that means success, being able to have a business that you can actually decide where you want to bring it. Especially me, I'm very impatient when it comes to business. When I have an idea, I really want to implement it right away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Um, so so Jeff, I feel like I was you like a few years ago. That I tried to just aim at something, aim, ready, and then I shoot immediately. But
Uh-huh.
as years go by, it is very important to, okay, you aim, you
Uh-huh.
pause, you
Yeah.
know, you try to figure out, is this idea gonna work? And then get ready. And then once you when you feel like you're ready, again, pause and then shoot, right?
Right, right. Yeah, I think that's true. I've in that sense, I've I agree. In a way, I've matured, is that I take things. Um, I choose my opportunities now. One, I think that is that fits my personality, fits my lifestyle, fits my uh your capability, what you're capable of in terms of physical or health, uh, you know so I'm I'm more traditional in in that sense. I don't go for newer types of um, businesses.
That's right. Yeah. I think that's a good tip to share to folks. Choose opportunities that
That
fit
fit your
your capabilities, right? Because when times get tough, do you have the interest? Do you have the energy to sustain this business opportunity, right? Um,
right.
because if you don't have the interest, if you don't have the capability to sustain it, and if you're only after the financial gain or the outcome, when tough times come, then a lot of people say, okay, forget about it, right?
Yeah. Yes, business is a long-term game, and what's funny is that let's say there's a new business, and people will say, "Oh, get into that business. There's a new business there, bigger, or what? I'll go into that business." I feel that you're right. Getting a lot for the sake of you know maybe opportunity right now uh, is good in that sense, but the long-term fulfillment or fulfillment wise, I don't know. I don't know. So yeah, I think that's right. Choose the opportunity that fits the capabilities, and what fulfills you.
Mm-hmm. All right, Jeff, any last words to our viewers today? And again, viewers, it's a little bit of what do you call? I have a word that I'm forgetting right now, but it's almost like weird that we're talking about technology, and the moment that we talk about technology, this is what happens, right?
Right, right.
So, Jeff, any last words to our audience?
Okay. Well, first of all, thank you for saying I'm sorry about cable connection. And I guess finally, um, y- access to entrepreneurial education is very important. For one, because entrepreneurship is the backbone of any economy.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, if you look at it, even in the United States, there are millions of jobs because of entrepreneurs. So the more entrepreneurs we have, the more employment is in the economy.
Great. Wonderful. All right, folks. Jeff, thank you so much for sharing your insights to us. I think we did the best that we could with the internet connection, or the poor internet connection that we had, during this episode. But folks, if you want to follow Jeff and learn from him, in the comment section, we dropped the link in terms of where you can find his podcast, and hopefully we will be able to either re-record or invite Jeff Cua back here, so we can tap into his wisdom when it comes to entrepreneurial education, technology, and all of accessing and sustaining your business. All right, folks, thank you again. And I hope to see you in about 2 weeks. Have a great night, everybody. Good morning here in the United States. Good evening in the Philippines. Thank you. See you